Hello, everybody. Um, I'm checking really quick to make sure everything is good and hoping you guys can hear me and see me well. Okay, so this is technically it's February's live stream, but because for some reason there's shorter days in February, this is sort of like the end of the month for me, even though it's technically the beginning of the next month. Um, I have so many fun, weird little things to chit chat about with you today because I've been going nonstop. There's been tons of things sort of like that I've just been like fiddling with and getting into. And I've kind of just been looking at my schedule and things that I've been planning on doing. And I'm very much like I have a plan for what I'm going to do. And then when I like get sort of pushed up against the wall, I'm just like, okay, that's not going to work or that's not going to work. So I've been switching up my projects a lot simply because I've been biting off quite a bit lately and I'm trying to sort of balance that out a little bit. Um, I'm trying to think so this month, because only one episode went up in January, I had I had two episodes come up already for the month of February, and now I have one more coming up to make up for January, and that will be coming out. I'm really trying to get that out tomorrow night, um, but I'm like actually actively working on it still. So hopefully I can. I think I'm going to be able to tie it up tonight and then edit all through the day tomorrow and get it up and ready for you guys. It's a tiny project, but it's kind of a precursor to bigger, exciting things that I have going on in March. But I think you guys will like it. Should I show you a little sneak peek of what I'm working on? It's little, like I said. Let's see. I want to make sure you guys want to see it before I show you. And I should preface this by saying I'm only going to show you part of it. So, um, and it's blur because I can't focus the thing. So, what what got me thinking about this? I started looking around the house because I'm getting ready to sell. And I started thinking about anything that I could take um, that looks modern and redo and make the house look as amazing as I possibly can get it before it goes on the market. And I started looking at the plate switch covers around the house just for like the light switches and the outlets. And I was like, you know what? Like, I could make those. I could make those way neater than you normally see um, in an average house. And I was thinking, if I made that, I could create a mold of it. And then anywhere I moved or anywhere I went for the rest of my life, I could just make duplicates of whatever this is. So it's kind of like, and one day if I ever end up like marketing products or something like that, this could be one of those things that you just sell. Because once you've made the first one, the rest are pretty easy. So let's see. I will show you, like I said, you're going to have to zoom in if you want to see it closer, and it's only part of it. I'm going to save the surprise for the episode. But that is kind of what it's looking like. Let me see if I can move it to a dark space so you can kind of, but it's totally sculpted from scratch, and there's going to be a couple little critters on it. And I'm so excited. I've literally just been like working, trying to get everything done. And to me, this was one of those like, okay, let me rewind for a second. The cushion episode, it was supposed to just be this pillow. I was like, I need to think of something that I can do quickly and so I can like breathe for a second and then start working on the next thing. And so I was like, well, I'll do this. And so we filmed this. And then when I was wrapping this up, I was like, this isn't special enough. And then that's when I kind of like tore into the rest of everything. So basically, what I'm saying is, whenever I start thinking like this is going to be a quick, easy project, I thought this light switch project was going to be a day, maybe not even a day. And I am on day 3. And then once I actually start like editing, it's a 4-day project. So, I mean, there's just no escaping for me. Um, Overcomplicating things, but I don't know. Who knows? I'm going to read some of the comments going on. Everything you do is special enough. That's so nice. I wish the person inside my head thought that. I tend to, I don't know. I think a lot of people are like this. I'm very, very, very critical of myself. Um, and oddly not terribly critical of other people as much. So I don't hold anybody else really to what I do to myself. So which is nice for other people, but is miserable for me. Let's see. So yeah, like I don't know, I got really excited about this light switch thing, and I have like a whole list of projects I'm going to be tackling, and I run them all past my mom, and I'm like, well, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? And I sort of gauge her reaction of as far as how excited she gets about stuff. And for some reason, the light switch plate cover she got like, ooh, I want that. So it's kind of how that you guys should thank my mom for everything, because she's kind of the one vetting all of these ideas. Did she like the pillows? She loved the pillows. She was so excited. Okay, so let me tell you about the pillows. Um, this was I mentioned in the episode that it was one of those like I was actually 90% done, and I was thinking this is not working and this is not coming together. And I felt like I was like, they look like cabbage and lettuce. I don't know if it's like a good thing. And then when I did these, it kind of brought it all together. And personally, like I like things that look like cabbage and lettuce. I have like a whole dish set that is from the 1950s that is cabbage and lettuce themed. But I don't know. Sometimes you make things and they unintentionally come out looking like other things. And I have done that so many times. And sometimes things come out unintentionally looking really inappropriate. And so when that happens, I'm just like, and sometimes you don't realize it until you're just so far in and you're like, oh no. So that's happened to me a few times. But you know, what are you going to do? Cabbage and lettuce are delicious. I think lettuce is delicious. I've personally, you know what? I take that back. I like cabbage in like a fake fish taco or something like that. How did you discover your style? I don't know. I would say I am still discovering it every day. Like every and you're kind it evolves. I have sections of my life where I'm really into certain things, and then I kind of get pulled into a different era or a different sort of genre. So it kind of is always twisting and moving around. So I don't know. I watch lots of movies, and that's where I gain tons of inspiration and like old magazines, and I love vintage imagery. So those places usually. How are the poof and the woof today? Well, they're out. They're wonderful. Um, but I was hoping they would poof, woof. They won't really come if you want them to come. They're like, no, we're busy. They kind of go through phases where they're throughout every day. They're going through phases and they run amok. They're tearing through the house, going nuts, and watching Poof, who looks like a marshmallow with fur, like get really excited and vicious is hysterical. But they use up all of this adorable energy and then they just sort of like crap themselves out and they just they just collapse, and then you don't see them for a few hours while they like recharge their, you know, magic. Let's see. I also agree that I'd love to shop from you, even if it's small items. That's kind of my dream one day, is that I could. Oh, wait. I have a delivery. Would you guys like to? Little delivery. Hello, Poof. Little Poofay. Oh my goodness. I love this. You can take his arms and just go like this, and he doesn't care at all. He's just like, okay, this is my life now. Hello. He has this thing where he's feisty right now. I can tell by the look on his face that he's thinking feisty things, and his ears go back, and he looks like that, like a real life version of Simon's cat, which is like a cartoon. You can get up. You don't have to stay. Little baby. He's feisty right now. I can tell. Like sometimes he's like sweet. Most of the time he's like sweet and lovey. And then occasionally he looks like he's thinking things. Like right now. He's off to better things. I have marshmallow bunny tooth. Oh. Simon's cat is hilarious. I totally agree too. So yeah, when he does that thing and he's feeling feisty in his... Okay, he has started shedding. It's great. I've never really had a cat that like shed before until him. And it is terrible. So, you know, I guess even angels have like little things that are drawbacks. My dog sheds like a cat. It's one of those things that like, so I usually don't think it's a big deal, and I use those lint rollers and stuff before you leave the house, but occasionally you're not paying attention. And I have found myself like in the dentist's office before, and they have these like horrible fluorescent lights coming down, and you look down and you're like covered in hair. It's just like, I don't know. It just is what it is. So I don't know. I feel like it's the least bad thing you could ask. I mean, I don't know. Things could be much worse. What are you drinking? One of the Christmas presents I got this year was like a Nespresso machine. And so I have one of the Nespresso things, which is, by the way, like it's one of the fancier things I have. And if you feel like getting fancy for a minute, this is something worth getting. And I'm using a teacup from, I think, the 1800s. And I have oat milk it came with a frother, and so you froth the oat milk and you pour it in. It feels like a fancy dessert treat, and it's only like 20 calories or something. So yes, 1800s is from Austria, and it's really, really pretty. I'll see if I can show you. It's like, I actually found it on eBay for like not very much money, which is surprising. And it's got a chip in it, but I don't care. I've got somebody who's considering joining the party. Oh, I won't pick you up. He's like my little scared one. He's afraid of everything. He was one that, I don't know if I've talked about this. When I was in beauty school 10 years ago, somebody found a little kitten in the back alley of the beauty school, and his mouth had somehow been torn away from the jaw, and he was not doing well. And I personally love maimed animals, so like I took him home, and I thought he was going to get over being like a terrified, scared little kitty, and it turns out he never did. So I think he was just like a full-on feral kitty from a feral litter, and he's adjusted, but he is terrified of everything. And he kind of is he does three things. And they're all questionable. So he is either hiding, he's terrified, aggressively snuggling, meaning like or he's trying to hump you. So I don't know. He's kind of I wonder if he's got like a little bit of a mental handicap. But you save them, and they're like kids. You have no idea who they're going to be. They're just people they're just whoever they're going to be. And you try to give them like a loving home, and then they turn out to be whatever they're going to be. And I don't know. I'm kind of one of those people, like, if I take in a cat, like, it's a contract as far as I'm concerned for their whole life. Um, and no matter how terrible they are, it's just, I mean, you know, the minute you took him home, that's kind of your cat now. So I don't want to say he's my least favorite cat I've ever had, but that's terrible. What's his name? His name is Sergeant Fuzzy Balls. But I call him Sergeant. And I'm trying to think. Yeah. When he was a baby, when he was young, he had like the fuzziest balls you've ever seen. So his name is Sergeant Fuzzy Balls. Most of the feral cats I have found always like to stay outside. So I just gave them food. I wish that could be the case with him. So there are like quite a few feral cats around the mountain area, and I feed them out front. Um, but for me, like I've had him since he was a kitten. I found him in Orange County, and now I live in the mountains, so you can't let cats out up here, or at least like domesticated ones, because there's coyotes and bears and mountain lions and things. So I don't know. I have to be really careful with them. Do you ever get nervous using antique items? I would be so afraid to break things. So, one of the nice things so there was a crack in this when I bought it on eBay, and there was a chip on it. Um, so I don't know. I don't really, it depends on if using it is going to wear it down or ruin it. And I tend to be pretty careful with things. So occasionally I break things, but like not terribly often. So I guess to answer your question, I'm not terribly worried about it breaking, and it is already damaged. So I don't know. What fabric have you bought lately? What fabric have I bought lately? I went to the garment district with my mom in downtown Los Angeles and bought the stuff to do these pillows. So I've just been doing that. What else have I been doing? I have literally, I talked about this in the last one, but um, I did all of those gifts to get out in the month of January. And sometimes I bite off more than I can chew. And I've done that lately. But I don't know. I've just been like doing stuff. So I haven't had a ton of time to. What did I do? When I was working on the Valentine's Day basket, which by the way, we're going to get to that, and I'm going to tell you guys who won that. Let's see what time it is. I will be revealing that shortly. Um, that was such a fun project. I would say that was like my favorite one I've done in a while, just because it was one of those everything just kind of kept coming together. Everything worked out. And I watched all 3 seasons of Fargo while I was working on it. And if you haven't seen the show Fargo, you should watch it because it is just mesmerizing. It's so good. It's probably my favorite modern show that I've ever seen. So, and the fourth season's coming out, I think, next month. Okay. Fargo is amazing. Yes. So the first season is, I don't know that they can top it because it's just so mind bogglingly good. But there are elements of the following 2 seasons that I love so much. It just hits all my buttons. Let's see. Who is your favorite character from any of the seasons? I personally tend to, I'm trying to think. They're all amazing. The first season, I absolutely love the main girl, the police officer that's sort of like putting all of the pieces together. And for some reason, I can't remember um, her name, and then Colin Hanks is just mind-blowingly great, and the chemistry between them is so those two characters are my favorite. And then also like um gosh, I'm bad at names right now. He's married to Angelina Jolie, Billy Bob Thornton. He is so spooky. So those three people, everyone's amazing in it, but those three people are the best in the first season. The second season, I personally really love Kirsten Dunst's character in it. She, it's a great season. So she's my favorite in the second. And in the third season, Nikki Swango, who is Mary something, oh my gosh, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I think. Winstead? Anyway, she's the best in the third one, in my opinion. Did you get a chance to watch Penny Dreadful? I haven't yet. So I've seen all of the episodes of Fargo like multiple times. So while I'm working on a project, I can turn it on and I know I'm not going to miss anything. So I haven't had time yet to like actually sit and watch a brand new show and like actually appreciate it. But it is pretty much at the top of the list of the shows I'm going to be tackling. I adore Eva Green. I don't just adore Eva Green. I would like to be Eva Green. I think everyone would. She's pretty unbelievable, and I will watch anything she's in. Are your curtains inspired by the Gremlins movie? I love the Gremlins movie, but I don't recall these curtains. These curtains are inspired by the fact that the way these windows operate, it's kind of the only kind of curtain you can have on them. So that's where that is inspired by. And by the way, I'm looking outside. It snowed all day today. So it's really kind of magical and pretty looking out there. Let's see. Have you seen The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix? I have, and I thought it was spectacular. So, and I particularly, my mom and I have a crush on the guy. He was in The Age of Adeline. I can't remember his name. It's something strange, like Michelle or something like that, but he was amazing in it. Let's see. I'm trying to think, should I get into who won the Valentine's Day basket? Because that seems like this was one of those that I had this problem with the makeup one where it was just like the responses were so good. It was so hard and difficult to pick one person or one person's response that was so great because I had like a list of like 25 that I really liked. And so I just had to go with my first instinct, which was there was one that I liked. Other people gave kind of similar ones, a few, but there was just one. I think it was the first one that was in the same vein. And it was the one that like spoke to me the most. So I have to look it up really quick. Okay, hold on. I always take pictures in my phone so that way I can keep track. I've got a kitty over there that's like playing with something who you shouldn't be playing with that. Okay, so let me go to this. I have two winners to announce, by the way, because I have a winner for the Valentine's Day basket, and then in last month's live stream, we did a contest where I asked a question, and the first person who answered got it, and I'm going to announce that winner in just a second. Let's see. I think it's amazing that you give away projects. Thank you so much. I feel like you guys you have given me the best job on earth. Yeah, I'm working super hard for it, but it is given me so much freedom and there's no other like real way that I could do this. So the idea that I could give back something is kind of very exciting for me. And I personally have always liked giving stuff away. So I don't know. It makes me feel like better to give the stuff away than to just like hoard it all or something. I've got a pile of dresses over here and I've got a cat who has like dug herself into it and who knows, whatever's going on there. Okay. So, The person who won the Valentine's Day gift basket is Corbin Caniglio. And his response, my question was, if you were a notorious criminal, what would be your crime and what would your nickname be in the press? And his was the cat burglar. I just break into people's houses and run around knocking things off shelves at 3 a.m. and then leave. I'm just like, I kept seeing that and it was on my list and I just kept laughing at it every time because I could just visualize somebody, and everybody's got cameras in their houses now. So like they're going to see like a grown man going into their house and like knocking stuff over, acting like a cat at 3 a.m. and then leaving. And I loved that. So Corbin Caniglio, I will be contacting you and sending you out that Valentine's Day basket. I'm going to remake the chocolates because you want them to be fresh. And the Hannibal Lecter mask that's made of chocolate, I'm not going to send that just because it's just going to break. It's going to make a mess. It's something bad is going to happen to it. So, but everything else in the basket is going to you. And then you get that cool basket. By the way, I'm going to be recreating that basket because I want one in my house because it's so neat. Okay, hold on. I'm going to have to get somebody involved here because there's a cat. Maybe. Okay, hold on one second. So, something I should tell you is I've mentioned I'm moving. Let's talk about that. We'll talk about moving. But the entire third floor of the house was originally when this house is from the 30s, and I think it was just an attic before the people who owned it before me. And so they converted it into a master bedroom with a master bath, and it's really pretty up there. If you've seen the house tour episode, it's there. Anyhow, so they had carpeting down. And so when we first moved in, I had the carpeting ripped out and had new carpeting put in, but there was plywood on the floor, and that's what the floor was. And personally, I love rugs in places, but having a whole room carpeted, if you have carpet and you have pets, it's just like, it's too hard to clean. It just never stays super nice. And so because I'm moving and I want the house to be unbelievable, I had the carpet stripped out, and I'm having people come in and put in this really beautiful actual hardwood floor upstairs. And it is so beautiful. It's not Pergo, it's like actual beautiful hardwood. And I don't know, it's going to be one of those things when I'm ready to move, the house is going to look so incredible that I'm going to be like, it's going to be hard to just go, well, the truth is it's not big enough for the stuff that I do, and that's like one of the biggest reasons for selling it. So carpets and pets do not go. Yeah, I just feel like carpet is for people who don't do too much in their house and don't have children or pets. So I personally like how carpeting feels, and if it's fresh and beautiful, I think it is beautiful. But I just like hardwood floors with like some area rugs around. I just feel like everything looks pretty. Unfortunately, I have carpet and pets. My whole life, I have had carpet and pets every house I've ever been in. So, what are you gonna do? So let me talk about the house and selling it and like what my plan is for that. If you guys don't mind, if you guys want to hear like what's going on with that and what my like master plan is for that. That's really tasty. Okay. Hold on, I'm going to make sure you guys actually want to see this or want me to chat about this. Okay, so I had so many things planned that I'm dead set on putting the house on the market in May. So that's in May. So that's when I'm doing that. And so I thought I was going to be able to do like the dress form episode before I moved, and I thought I was going to be able to do the TV cupboard before I moved. And I'm just realizing, like, realistically, knowing how long those are going to take and how good I want them to be, I don't like rushing anything that I know is going to be incredible. So I'm going to be pushing those out a little bit. Um, I so my plan for selling the house is, and my mom is just like shaking her head at this if she's watching this. I'm selling it fully furnished with all of the art and antiques and everything that you see, like that I post about pretty much. I've started pulling my favorite things, but the TV cupboard I made, I'm going to be selling it with the house because I'm like, I can make another one. Um, but my plan I don't want to just like, obviously give away all of the stuff that I've been collecting and making for the last like 5 years and more. So I'm going to put it on the market for a certain amount. Um, and if it sells quickly, then it sells quickly, and then and I'm going to leave all of this beautiful stuff, and it's going to look like something from a Tim Burton movie or Dark Shadows or something incredible. And if it doesn't sell and it just sits here for a minute, then I'm going to pull all of the things that I love and then sell it for whatever the market value is for it. So I have yet to talk to a realtor and like find out um what their thoughts are, but that's just kind of I want to give people a chance to like have all of this just as I have it, because like I said, it's going to look so spectacular when it's done and I photograph it and it goes up. So I'm super excited for I'm crossing my fingers that, it sells for that amount and it goes well. And then for me, it's kind of a win-win. If it sells for a good amount, I get to go buy all new stuff and do this all over again somewhere else. And I get to get a really fun house and it's going to be exciting. And then if it doesn't sell and I lower the price, I get to keep all of this magical stuff that I've been collecting. So either way that works out, I'm going to be pretty excited about it. The TV cabinet is the best. So as I keep telling my mom, like, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that. And she's just like, I can't believe you're leaving this stuff. Like every single thing that I'm telling her I'm leaving, she's just like shaking her head and going, ah. But I mean, I don't know. Like I've said before, I view this house as kind of like a piece of art that I've been working on and curating for the last 4 years, 5 years. And so I just feel like if somebody can have it and wants it as it is like this, I think it's neat to do that. Do you plan on showing the house? I'm going to have to be really careful because obviously there's a decent sized audience of people that, and I mean, I don't know. You don't want to do, I think I'm going to have a realtor deal with everything. Because everything is like, it's art. And if you did an open house and just tons of people came through, you could have people taking stuff and like, so who knows? I don't know how it's going to play out, but it's going to be definitely very carefully dealt with, I think, with a realtor. So I think that's my plan. Listen to your mama. I do most of the time. She's she's like me. So like whenever I tell my mom something, it's just like, well, that's what you need to do. And she does the same thing to me. When is the makeup tutorial? So that's another really good thing to talk about because I'm excited about that. That is the next episode I'm shooting, and I am shooting it later this week, and I will have it up. I don't want to say when I'm going to have it up, but it's coming this month. And the reason it's taken me so long to do, there are, if you guys want to know how slow I am, there are 3 girls that won a makeup giveaway in November, which is so long ago. Um, and so I was gonna make like makeup kits for everybody. Somebody won like a big master thing, and then there were 2 girls that won sort of like second runner up, third runner up gifts. And I'm trying to think. I go nuts with everything. And I watch a lot of makeup videos. So I know what makes a good makeup video. And I'm going to not only be doing a makeup video, but I feel like I'm going to give away something, or I'm going to let you in on something. I've ended up making 3 complete customized kits for each of these girls. There are so many special things going on. There are antiques going into these kits. I'm going to be showing you some really magical ways to sort of incorporate antiques into your like everyday makeup. And it's going to be so neat. My mom's actually so excited about this episode. So it's going to be mind-bogglingly cool. And the three girls that won that contest, as soon as I'm done filming the episode, I'm going to be shipping them their kits, and they are going to be things that you're going to want to keep forever. It's going to be, I'm really excited. Like, I don't even, it's of all of the episodes I've done, I'm probably the most excited for this one because it's going to be amazing. And like I said, I watch makeup videos and like I basically I know what people want to see and I know what they don't. And it's going to be amazing. So let's see. Is your mom moving with you? I think my dad would have a problem with that. um, basically what my plan is I'm going to have her come out often, and I'm gonna have whatever house I end up with. I'm gonna have um, either like a guest house or a room that's just hers, and she is gonna have to. We talk like 5 times a day, probably, or more, sometimes more. Um, and sometimes we'll be talking on the phone for so long, and I'll look down at the phone, and it's just like, you've been talking for an hour and a half or more. So I don't know. We have to do something. So we're going on a vacation later this month. I'm going to be appearing at South by Southwest on March 16th, I think. Yes, March 16th. And so she's coming with me, and we're going to take a little mini trip, I think, to Savannah. I'm not entirely for sure yet, but I think we're going to fly over to Savannah and like have some fun. Bisco gets a man cave. Bisco is getting a man cage. So we'll be covering that in an episode. It's going to be fun. Yes, he's going to get a place to call his own. Let's see. My mom and I watch your videos together. It's really fun. That makes me so happy. I personally really somebody messaged me and said they show their grandmother loves the episodes and she's in her 80s, and something about like a woman in their 80s liking the stuff that I'm doing made me feel so happy. It kind of makes you feel like you're a little kid again, and like the grown-ups admire like what you're doing, and I don't know, that kind of makes me happy. So, I don't know. Please say there will be a meet and greet in Savannah. I wish there was a way to orchestrate something like that. Sometimes those get a little overwhelming if you don't have somebody there to manage stuff. So, um, I I don't know. I would love that if there was like a practical way to pull it off. Are you ready for the new Candyman film coming out? Yes, but if you want my honest opinion, the number one movie I am looking forward to this year is Antebellum, that comes out, I think, in April. The trailer looks so good. And you know, like sometimes like you see the trailer for a movie and you just get so pumped about it. Well, Antebellum, I'm dying to see that movie. And a hair tutorial, please. One day soon, I will do a hair tutorial. I'll do everything. It'll all be fun. Searching for trailer, watch it. It's such a good trailer because you don't know what's going on. I hate trailers that like are just a mini movie, and then as soon as you're done, you're like, well, I've seen that movie. Let's see. I think a few of us could be your bodyguards. I'm very tall, so a few of you would have to be very tall as well. Let's see. Did you go to see the new Gretel and Hansel? So actually, I don't. Oh, it says it. Orion Pictures, which made that movie, reached out to me and they had wanted me to do something for that movie, and there was just no time, and I could have just taken a hammer and squished my hand because I really wanted to, and it was so in my wheelhouse, but I just didn't have any time. This really consumes almost everything. So, but they did send me the link, and I did get to see it, and I thought it was super spooky and cool. Yeah, the end of that movie was really, really good. Let's see. Let's do Q&A. If you guys have questions, like throw them at me and I will do my very best to answer them. Oh, but before I do that, so you type in questions and then I will read them. But before we do that, let me announce who won the contest in the last live stream, because I asked a question and the answer was Clive Barker, and the first person who answered was Lindsay Morse. So, Lindsay Morse, you are going to be getting a plaque of like a little sculpture that I made. So, I will be sending that out to you pretty quick here. Okay, let me check and see. Which, by the way, so I'm going to be going to Austin and then Savannah and then kind of just anywhere else in that region. So, if there's something fun and spooky I should check out, please let me know. Like, I didn't even know about Savannah until I went on a trip and posted about it, and people were like, go to Savannah, go to Savannah. And I loved it. And then I read Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, and it was so good. Let's see. Go see the bats in Austin. That's like one of the top things I will be doing. Charleston. I've never been to Charleston, so should I check that out? And is it nice in March? Is anywhere nice in March, I guess is my question. It's been so cold and snowy up here on the mountain that I'm very excited to like go somewhere that's like a different climate. Let's see. Think you will still do the Salem meet and greet. I would love that. I think I might actually like reach out to some of the people who put on Salem's Halloween, because personally, I had such an insane blast last Halloween. I would do Salem again this Halloween because it just seems like it would be amazingly fun. The South is a nice place in March, and I love it. I'm so excited. So there's so many. I love the old like plantations and the old like everything old. That's all I'm interested in. Old stuff. You should throw a Halloween party in Salem. I would do that in a heartbeat. Okay, are you condensing your project types based on the poll earlier this week? So what that poll was so I put up a poll if you're in the second tier and up for kind of trying to figure out like what you guys like the most. And I kind of wanted to get a gauge of what is most popular, or what are the subjects you want to see the most, because the last thing I want to do is focus on this little corner over here and totally neglect like the big thing you guys want to see. And luckily for me, one of the top things that you guys like to see was home renovation and woodworking. And because I'm getting ready here to move in a second, and like really that's kind of what I want to be focusing on for the next just couple months before I get ready to go, is prepping things around the house and making episodes of those activities. So it was helpful to me. So in the next couple months, you're going to be seeing mostly home improvement-y sort of things as I get ready to move. And then I don't know, I have a whole list of really exciting things I want to tackle, and I hope I can get to everything. Let's see. Have you ever visited the Mutter Museum in Philly? I have not. I'm not even sure I've been to Philadelphia, and I really would love to go. March, I'm thinking, would be cold there, but correct me if I am mistaken. Your home renovation should be a reality show. I mean, you're kind of gonna be getting that. So whatever house I end up with, I'm gonna be documenting all of it, and I'm gonna be getting this big, creepy, old, spooky house. And there's one my mom's helping me get a hold of the realtor and look into. It's very far gone. I mean, it's probably too far gone. Um, because sometimes it's like you can get a house for cheap, but if it costs $400,000 to make it a normal looking house again, it's hard. So, but there's one, it's amazing. It's in Kentucky, which I'm not opposed to. I have a bunch of my ancestors are from Kentucky, so it seems like a stretch that I would get this one just because it's not technically available at the moment. So we'll see what happens. But basically, I'm still hunting. Let's see. I'm trying to read stuff as I go along. One of my favorite things, by the way, is I always go back and read all of these comments afterward because as we're doing this, like I can't keep track of like every one of them. And it's always so fun when people leave little bits of information that you're like, ah, there's something to do. Interesting to know your ancestors are from Kentucky too. Yes. My mom's been doing like family tree stuff, and we found like a whole bunch of people in Kentucky, which is kind of cool. I love Kentucky personally. Like my grandma took me on a trip there when I was 7, and I found kitties in a field, and she let me take them home. So I have lots of happy memories involving Kentucky. If I want to find a phonograph, do you suggest I go to a flea market or online? I personally think if you're you're probably going to get the best deal online. If some random chance you stumble across one in person, which can happen, like you can find them in an antique store once in a blue moon. But it's pretty uncommon, and I feel like overall you're most likely going to end up with the best deal if you find one online, and it may be coming from another country. But yeah, I don't know. I think all of the ones I've ever gotten have come from the internet. I've never just gone into an antique store and saw one that was a reasonable price. So yeah, that's the best way to do it. And I do. So something you can do, you can do a nationwide Craigslist search, and it's this tedious process of like going through each region. But you can find them on Craigslist and then contact the seller and ask if they'd be willing to ship them, and that's sometimes how you can get them. And they're usually the least expensive going that route. eBay tends to be pricier, Craigslist tends to be cheaper and dicier. Will you be making more printable items for us? Yes. Um, I don't want to give anything away, but like I've got stuff in the works. So the short answer to that question is yes. I use Facebook Marketplace. Um, have you used it? I don't think I've used it, and I think I've heard people say that that's something to do. So maybe that's what I should be doing. What are the must-have requirements you're looking for your house? This is such a good question. Must-haves. It has to be an old, spooky-looking house. That's the biggest one. The second one is it has to be on some land. So because of filming, you can't live on like a busy street or anything like that because then you'd be waiting constantly for it to quiet down, and that doesn't. I live in a very secluded forest area where you don't hear a lot of stuff happening and there's not much going on at all ever around here. So I do need that. And I'm trying to think. I don't like houses that have been super. I don't want to buy a house that's in perfect condition. Um, so I mean, like if it's a house that's been fully restored already, like I don't know, it'd have to be like the most mind-bogglingly cool house for a really good deal for me to consider that, but I kind of want it to look like it needs some work. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? So super old, has to be near-ish on the East Coast. I really, just because the things that I love going to see are all there. It's such an old area. Um, so it has to be there. But I'm not super particular as like if it's high or low. So, and I don't know. So those are kind of the requirements that I've kind of been looking for. So it has to be on some land. Um, it has to be old and spooky. I just want it to be like something from like the movies I saw growing up. I would be so scared to live in such a secluded area. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but I'm creepy. And I feel like I am very likely to be the creepiest thing in like a certain mile radius. And if something creepier came along, I feel like we'd probably get along. Let's see. Where did I get the skeleton for the bone basket? I will post a link to that. I can do that like right after this. I'll leave it in like a. I'll update the live stream link in the description and give the link to that. I got it on eBay, I think, but they sell them all. They're for like medical schools. I know I teased or joked in the episode that I found it in a parking lot, but no, it was like one of those like medical ones where, and I did all this stuff to like remove all of the little things that made it look obviously like a medical skeleton. I love playing with bones. I don't know. That was part of what made that project so fun. Christine would just adopt the creepy thing and give it a loving home. I honestly probably would. So I don't know. What liquid latex do you use? I I think it just came from, where did that come from? That's a really good question. Where did I get that liquid latex? I live I live fairly close to Redlands, California, and there's like a shopping area that just kind of has all sorts of stuff. I think you can get it at any hobby store. I think. Or I may have gone to a costume. I don't remember is the answer. I don't know. It was definitely something picked up in a store. I don't remember. I will try to find it. Was it from Amazon? No, it was from a store. It came in like a jug. It's like flesh colored. I really think they're pretty much all essentially the same thing. I'm sure there's some brands that are better than others. Um, but yeah. You mentioned North Carolina is one of your other in one of your other live streams. Do you like the mountains or the beach better? I have no interest in the beach. I know that's so weird to some people, but the beach doesn't really, unless it's like Dark Shadows Beach or something like that, where it's like a New England beach. So no, I love mountains. I love country sort of settings, pastoral. I don't know if that's a word, something like that. A pasture. I love places you can picture cows like and horses milling about. Oh, and one of the other requirements for the house is it has to be humongous. I don't. I'm looking at houses that are like 4,500 square feet or more. I think I've just been living in such small houses for my whole like I grew up in like a good sized Victorian house, and then after I moved out, I've lived in tiny little houses everywhere. And so I want something that I like can have a whole room to do sewing and a whole room to do something else and then have a whole room to have like my mom come stay with me. So I really want space and not to be so like I don't know what you'd call it, sardined in. Asheville, North Carolina is mind boggling, but I'm sure it's also like way too expensive. Do you work with antique tools or only new ones? My personal philosophy is I think if Leonardo da Vinci, if he had had hot glue guns around in his time, he would have used them. So I utilize the tools of today to accomplish because usually like not that like older tools can't be functional or be great but I just kind of think like I don't know, modern tools I'm very like modern technology and tools I'm all about. I just don't like the way they look. So I don't know, that's kind of my philosophy on it. Let's see. Tiny houses for people are not for people with hobbies. I completely agree with that. This is like the dream house for somebody who either used it for vacationing or just kind of wanted to live quietly and beautifully. It's a really pretty area. It's just not built for how many things I like to do. So, yeah. Would you consider doing a werewolf project, kind of like a play on Little Red Riding Hood? So I did that for my book, and I would do it again. I personally really really love werewolves, and so the answer is yes. I will totally be doing more things like that. I I'm never ever ever worried about like creativity running out. I worry about dying before I can pull off all of the fun, exciting things I want to do. All I have to do is sit and think for even 15 seconds, and I start having ideas pop into my head of things that I could do or want to do. So I would say that's going to be. I have two things that I'm really bummed about dying. Um, I'm going to be sad about dying because there's going to be movies and shows that come out after I'm dead that I would have loved. Um, and I'm going to be bummed about not having like made all of the things that I know that if people lived longer, I could pull off. So, yeah, that's kind of off topic, but or it's me going off topic. Favorite fairy tale? All of them? I'm trying to think. What is my favorite? Sleeping Beauty is my favorite Disney movie. That's the one I like the most just because she's so pretty and I love it. It's got a castle. It's just got everything that I like. Oh, well, hello, Poof. Oh, hello. He's come back to say hi. I think he's calmed down. He gets like a feisty look in his eye, and he doesn't have that right now. Right now, he has like a calm, tranquil looking face. After discovering you, all I want to do is woodworking, sculpting, sewing, and cooking. I would say woodworking is a newer hobby for me, and I love it so much. I could do it all day, every day, and I don't think I'd ever get tired of it just because, I mean, you can make anything out of it, and just about anything made from wood looks beautiful. So I just feel like it's amazing. Who is your favorite villain? Gosh. Okay. I know. Well, it's a toss up between Debbie Jelinski from Adam's Family Values and then somebody that I love so much is Nicole Kidman in To Die For, which I think came out in either 1994 or 1996. I think 96. But her character is so beautiful. I want to say I have modeled my look more so than anyone else off of her character in that movie To Die For with Nicole Kidman and Matt Dillon's in it. Um, she's just this deluded, and I feel like I relate to that a lot. She just lives in this fantasy world in her head, and she's like bad. She's not good. Um, but if you haven't seen that movie, you are in for a treat. So check that out. Um, what are you having? What am I having for dinner? I've been eating this I've been forcing my slave, like person I'm married to. I've been having him make me these taco bowls with fake meat. And I've just been eating that I'm very much like a person of ritual where I can eat the same thing every night. I don't know why. So if I find something that I like, it's like, okay. I very much view food and anything like that. I can just wear it, eat it every day and be very, very happy. I don't need a ton of variety when it comes to that. So that's the answer to that question. I can't believe he's staying here and being so sweet. So I should tell you, I got this little kitty, Professor Poof, to sort of help with losing Biggles, my little baby, over the summer. And you can't replace like a kitty that you love. Like it takes years to develop a really incredible relationship. And so anyway, Professor Poof was supposed to be I don't know, my security blanket for a little while. And it turns out he has completely fallen in love with him, my husband. So he follows him everywhere. They are just buddies. And if I'm lucky, he gives me the time of day. So that's kind of our relationship. And then Werewolf, who's my little black kitty, she's kind of like my little buddy. So she hangs out with me a lot. And she's in a lot of the episodes, but because she's totally black, you don't even notice that she's sitting next to me most of the time. So if you start zooming in on the darker corners of my videos and pictures, you're going to find her there. Let's see. Goodbye, Poof. He's moving on to better things. Let's see. Okay, so I think we're going to tie this up there. Like I said, I'm going to do my very best to have an episode out to you tomorrow night. And if for some reason I just can't pull it off in time, it'll be coming Tuesday morning. So I hope you love the little light switch tutorial. It's a mini episode. You should view it like that. Then I have the makeup episode coming up and then something else cool in the month of March. So tons of fun things, and I don't want to give away too much, but let's just say I've got really fun stuff coming up. So if you guys have any questions, leave them here and I will go back and check them out. And I will see you very soon. Have a lovely evening.